In a tiny rented room in the bustling heart of Lagos, David and Emma shared a life built on simple dreams and a love David thought was unbreakable. Though poverty was their constant companion, David's heart was rich with affection for Emma. He worked tirelessly, saving every spare naira, his mind filled with blueprints of a home he would one day build for her. But everything began to shift when Emma landed a job at a prestigious firm, Brightline Global. The woman he loved started to change. A wall of pride grew around her, and the warmth in her eyes was replaced by a cold, distant gaze. One afternoon, wanting to bridge the growing gap between them, David decided to surprise her. He spent hours in their small kitchen, carefully preparing her favorite meal, fragrant jollof rice with perfectly grilled chicken. He imagined the smile on her face, a glimpse of the old Emma he missed so dearly. With the food packed neatly, he made his way to her gleaming office building, his heart fluttering with anticipation. He pushed open her office door, a wide grin on his face, ready to say, "Surprise." But the words died in his throat. There, in the middle of the room, was Emma, locked in a passionate kiss with her boss, a man he later learned was named George Raymond. The container of food slipped from his trembling hands, clattering to the floor. The aroma of jollof rice now mixed with the bitter scent of betrayal. Emma pulled away, her face not one of guilt, but of pure fury. "What are you doing here, David?" she hissed, her voice dripping with contempt. "Look at you, showing up like this, embarrassing me. You and your poverty." Her words were sharper than any knife, carving deep into his already shattered heart. David stumbled out of the office, blinded by tears. The beautiful dream he had built for them had just crumbled into a nightmare. He finally understood a devastating truth. Sometimes, love isn't enough to hold a marriage together, especially when one heart is chasing gold. A few days later, while walking home with a heavy heart, David noticed a wallet lying on the pavement. He picked it up and opened it. His eyes widened. It was stuffed with crisp US dollars, more money than he had ever held in his life. For a moment, temptation whispered in his ear. This could solve so many problems. But his integrity screamed louder. He found an ID card belonging to a Mr. Richard Blake, a well-known businessman. Without a second thought, David went to the address on the card. Mr. Blake, a distinguished older man, was stunned when David handed him the wallet, every single dollar untouched. Moved by his honesty, Mr. Blake looked at him intently and said, "Young man, in a world full of dishonesty, you are a rare gem. I will not forget this." When David returned home, he excitedly told Emma what had happened, expecting her to be proud of him. Instead, she exploded in anger. "You did what? You returned it? David, are you a fool?" she screamed. "We are suffering, and you return a fortune. Love doesn't pay the bills, you idiot. Your honesty is just another word for poverty." David stood his ground, his voice quiet but firm. "I would rather be poor with a clear conscience than be rich with a thief's heart." He saw then that the woman he married was truly gone, replaced by a stranger consumed by greed. His heart ached, but he knew he had made the right choice. A week later, David's phone rang. It was Mr. Blake. "I told you I wouldn't forget you," the businessman said. "I have a logistics company, Brightline Transport. I want to offer you a position as a logistics coordinator. The salary is 600,000 Nigerian nairas a month." David fell to his knees, tears of gratitude streaming down his face. It was a miracle. When he shared the incredible news with Emma, her reaction was shocking. "Just 600,000 Nigerian nairas?" she scoffed. "With all the money he has, he's so stingy. You're still just a small fry." A cold dread filled David. "Emma," he warned, his voice heavy with sadness, "your greed will be your ruin." But she wouldn't listen. She packed her bags and left him, moving in with her lover, George Raymond, lured by his promises of a life of luxury and a wedding ring. Life with George was a whirlwind of expensive dinners and designer clothes, just as Emma had dreamed. But the dream soon turned into a cruel illusion. One evening, George confessed the ugly truth. He was already married. In fact, his wife's father owned Brightline Global. The entire lifestyle Emma was enjoying was funded by another woman's family. The house, the car, the money, it was all a lie. The affair inevitably came to light, and the consequences were swift and brutal. George's wife and father-in-law threw them both out. In a single day, Emma and George were fired, homeless, and stripped of every luxury they had flaunted. Emma was left with nothing but the bitter taste of her own choices. Meanwhile, David poured his heart and soul into his new job. His honesty and hard work did not go unnoticed. Mr. Blake saw his potential and mentored him, treating him like a son. Soon, David was promoted, and Mr. Blake gifted him a company car and a beautiful new apartment. At the office, David found an unexpected friend in the company's receptionist, a kind and gentle woman named Clara. She had a warm smile and a compassionate heart. Seeing the lingering sadness in David's eyes, she offered him a listening ear. She helped him sort through the pain of his betrayal, her friendship a soothing balm on his wounded soul. Slowly, their friendship blossomed into something deeper. With Clara, David felt seen, respected, and cherished for who he was, not for what he could provide. He was falling in love again, but this time, it felt real and true. One evening, under a sky full of stars, David knew he couldn't imagine his future without Clara. He took her hand, his heart pounding, and asked her to be his wife. With tears of joy in her eyes, she said yes. He was the happiest man alive. When he went to ask for Mr. Blake's blessing, he got the shock of his life. As Clara walked in and called Mr. Blake Dad, David's jaw dropped. The kind receptionist who had mended his heart was his boss's daughter. Mr. Blake laughed heartily. David, I've been hoping for this day. I couldn't ask for a better man for my daughter. Their wedding was a beautiful celebration of love and new beginnings. And as a wedding gift, Mr. Blake gave them a fully furnished house and a new car. David's life had been completely transformed. Months later, David was walking downtown with a radiant, pregnant Clara by his side when he heard a familiar voice call his name. He turned and saw Emma. She was a shadow of her former self, her clothes worn, her eyes hollow and filled with desperation. She was also pregnant and clearly alone. David, she sobbed, George abandoned me. I have nothing left. Please, forgive me. I was so foolish. David looked at the woman who had caused him so much pain. He felt a pang of pity, not love. He pulled some money from his wallet and handed it to her. Take this, he said gently. I'm giving this to you out of kindness for the woman I once knew, not because of any love that remains. He then looked at his wife, placing a protective hand on her stomach. Clara and I are expecting twins. Emma's face crumpled as she stared at their joined hands, the love between them so palpable. She finally understood. In her greedy chase for a temporary kingdom, she had thrown away a lifetime of true treasure. A few months later, Clara gave birth to two healthy, beautiful twin boys. Holding his sons, with his loving wife by his side, David looked around his beautiful home, his heart overflowing with gratitude. He had lost everything, but in his darkest hour, his integrity had lit a path to a future brighter than he could have ever imagined. He thanked God for turning his deepest pain into his greatest blessing. His story became a living testament that honesty, faith, and patience are the true architects of a happy life, capable of turning any sorrow into a story of incredible success. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more content that inspires.